Okay, good morning, Pittsburgh. And we're going to be simultaneously broadcasting live with on KDKA today. That they're going to start in just a little bit. So before we go to KDKA, and I just want to say, hey, it's been interesting because it's been a little bit of a challenge with our studio. But I'll tell you what. Ken's been working hard on this. We got the studio down. We're not quite on our, we have a little bit of a workaround today. And you'll be seeing, I'm going to be going over some of the stuff that we went over last week. But in the addition, and you know what, I better mark something down just for myself here. I want to go over, there's some of the things that we'll be going over. We hit a little bit about the thyroid because we're going to have a great talk. It's going to be on Thursday. This coming week, we had to get some new equipment. That's going to be new software, new hardware. You'll be able to see that we're going to have even a little bit of a different look next week. I did record John and Dr. Bragg in Tennessee, so that was that's going to be on. We're going to do that. It's funny. I'm getting texted or neat. I wanted to see what that was and. So we're going to go over some of that. I'm going to talk about water. I'm going to talk about how water into the cell. You know, one of the things is we always use our, let me see if I can bend this back. I take, we got all these, you know, as you know, you come into a NutriMost office, you can do body composition. I don't want to go through, show names. But what we're looking for is that the weight's going down, fat's going down, water's going up. And how does that occur? We're going to talk a little bit about that. I may do that more when we go to breaks. So when KDKA goes to a commercial, we will most likely be going over some of that. I'm going to talk about some of the research. We've got a lot of research up. Let me just see some of the stuff. We're going to talk about your epigenetics and genes. There were 37 genes been identified with weight loss, with gaining weight. And there's 9 that have been really showed that you can really get yourself in a bad position as far as you can gain weight. But the reality of it is what we're seeing is that you can overcome that. We've always said that. There's another study that was out on polyps and showing that, hey, if you're gaining weight, your body's out of control. And it's, you know, I've talked about this before. It's that there's this cascading of different neurotransmitters. There's a cascading of different chemicals. There's a cascading that causes so many other challenges. And those challenges include things like insulin resistance, FGF21 resistance, leptin resistance. It causes metabolic syndrome. It causes non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But what we're also finding out is that it's been associated with polyps. See, here's the thing. It's all about your body and how it relates to your biochemistry. In fact, that's one of the things we're going to show as well. There's a study that came out. It's about there's an anti-stress compound. It's actually a protein. It's called FKBP51. Okay, FKBP51. And FKBP51 has been shown to basically can cause type 2 diabetes, and they're looking at if we can block this that you won't get type 2 diabetes. But here's the thing: it's not about blocking. You know, everybody's always looking for a drug. Everybody's always finding an alternative means of changing the biochemistry. And the reality of it is God created your body with this amazing power, this amazing intelligence that knows how to run it. And that intelligence, it's when that gets disrupted. So there's foods that cause disruptions. Where are the foods that cause disruptions? You know, we know those. And those foods are foods that are processed, refined foods. They're chemicals. They're foods that weren't once alive, weren't once living. See, the body's only designed to take in substances that had DNA. In other words, that were once living. And that's one of the reasons why, if you look at all of our supplements, they don't say a synthetic vitamin. They don't, and people say, even the ones that say natural, they're usually not. And the reason why they're not, it's like when they would say that NutraSweet was natural. It's about as far from being natural as you can possibly get. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yet, and see, that's the way the body's designed, is to take into foods. So all our supplements are food supplements. That's why we're so adamant about the fact that we don't want these excipients. Excipients are magnesium stearate, stearic acid, palmitic acid. They disrupt your hormones. They disrupt your neurotransmitters. And it's all about, looking at it from and I talk about this. I talk about, hey, we're looking at it from a molecular perspective, a cellular perspective, a metabolic perspective, your hormones, your neurotransmitters. So we're going to go over that. We see that when kids eat healthy, that's linked to happiness. Even when they're overweight, if they're overweight but they've ate healthier foods that were more once living, that are live foods, that aren't processed foods. And that's one of the big things we're going to get into, how your mood affects this as well. We're going to talk about, we got JB on, and I just want to make an announcement with that. I mean, here's a guy, James Brown, lost 85 pounds using NutriMost Wellness and Weight Loss. And now he's going to be the national spokesman for the company. And we'll go online and show some of that stuff. But, and I think we're going to be coming into KDKA in just a little bit. So I'm just hanging on as they get ready to come back. It's interesting because I have them in my ear. I see what's going on over on that end, and then we're trying to bring the things here. So here we go.
Censored, part of the KDKA Weekend Magazine, with your host, Dr. Ray. The following information is paid for by NutriMost Weight Loss Centers and is intended solely to further the public's general knowledge about weight loss programs. KDKA Radio does not guarantee the accuracy of any information aired in this program. Individual problems or questions concerning weight loss programs should always be referred to your healthcare professional.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine, local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020, KDKA.
Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Life will never be the same.
It is only getting better. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ray Wisniewski is here, NutriMost.com. 855-NutriMost to get that appointment. Call now. Call early, call often. Tell your friends about it. But dial this number to get that appointment, 855-688-7466. 855-688-7466. Time now, weekly journey that takes us to better health and better living. It's all about the balance, the total package. Ladies and gentlemen, live from the NutriMost studios, Dr. Ray Wisniewski. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Rob. I tell you what, I'm always excited. We've had some issues with in the past with some of our broadcasts. And we're getting some new equipment to add on to what we have. We have a workaround today. We don't have that equipment. We're going to see people that are seeing me stream live are going to see a little bit of a change. But today, one of the things that we're going to go over, and by the way, you can always go to NutriMost USA on Facebook. Go to facebook.com, search NutriMost USA. You'll be able to see us, see me in studio. Actually, it's me and Ken here, typically. I forgot to bring something up that I wanted to show. I may still try to do that later, Rob. And that is, we had our Christmas party yesterday. I just want to show some of the things that, talk about some of the things that we had. People say, well, how do you have a Christmas party? Hey, we had grass-fed filet. We had wild mushrooms. We had oven-roasted, char-grilled grape tomatoes. We had spaghetti squash. I mean, we had some great. We had our chicken cakes. We're gonna have to show how we do those. Our chicken cakes are absolutely phenomenal. I made had the recipe for that. But I want to remind everybody as well that on Thursdays at 12 noon we do our the most significant research and news. We're gonna actually have a new website just for that, by the way. It's going to be NutriMost Science, and we're going to take a look at some of the science, the news. And we're going to have it a searchable site that you can put up. But today, what I want to talk about are really the life transformations. And I talked last week about John, and we're having difficulty getting John on. So this week, what I do is I taped him. It's me, him, and Dr. Bragg. and we're gonna go over that after the break. Rob, we'll bring that up after the break. But here's a guy who lost 122 pounds. He just did absolutely amazing, and it truly is an amazing transformation. And when you see these types of transformations that really make a huge impact, and that's what it's all about. It's about how big of an impact can you make? How big of an impact can you make in your life that it can really dramatically change that? But we want that for you, and we do that with NutriMost Intelligence. We do that on a molecular basis, a cellular basis, and a metabolic basis. So where almost every other program you lose water into the cell, on this program you actually gain water into the cell. And it's not about how much water you drink. It's about how much minerals are in the cell and how optimized your cell is, how optimized the cell membrane is, how optimized the electrical potential of the cell is, because it's really about the electrical potential. And you'll hear people talk about electrolytes. And that's what they're referring to, is that electrical potential in the cell, but it's far more than that, because there's an overall zeta potential of your, which is the electrical potential of a colloidal system. It's what holds substances in suspension, which your blood, all substances are held in suspension. They're not dissolved in the blood, they're held in suspension. And so it's about increasing that. So we've created a product that's proprietary to NutriMost. We created it, I should say, I did it through a lot of the research that we've done, and it's our HydroVitalize. And HydroVitalize makes a profound difference as far as the support goes. And then we've created our products that are to help heal receptors. And we know that there's different processes that heal receptors, and it's all about healing those receptors. And so when you see these amazing results, it's because of what we were able to do. And so where every other process, they're just trying to say, okay, let's get rid of let's eliminate water. And you see people lose weight, they lose a lot of water weight. This is just the opposite. And by the way, a lot of times people have a lot of swelling, and they'll say, well, I don't need to get more water into me. I need less water. Those people, the problem is that they're not getting the water into the cell. In fact, the water is outside the cell. So it's about whether it's intracellular water or extracellular water, or edema, which is swelling. And so one of the things is, once you open that cell up, and you allow the water to go into the cell, now it releases from outside the cell. So one of the things is, you'll see people's water, their swelling go down dramatically. You'll see so many people have, my wife talked about this the other day, you see this puffiness around especially underneath the eyes. When you're looking under the eyes and you see that puffiness, you should not have that. And that's one of the things that it's all about how well your body's functioning, working. And you'll see when you're balanced, your skin looks better, your hair looks better, your energy's better, your digestion's better, your sleep is better, everything is better, your mood is better. Give us a call. We want that for you. We're going to explain that more today. And when we come back from the break, we're going to have John on. But before that, understand that we use this intelligence at NutriMost to determine specifically what your body's needs are. And then we have products that we've created to match those unique needs, those unique requirements. But we also it's also about the foods. Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your foods. We need to let your food be your medicine, but the question is, how do you do that? And we've created something that was in such a need that nobody had, that we've taken research, clinical study, we've taken my experience, and we've put together a process that says, okay, this food will be great for this for you, and this one may not be. And it's different for each person, and it's based on the clues that their body's exhibiting. It's based on their challenges that they have. But you can give us a call.
We can get that entire interview in with man who lost over 120 pounds, John, before the news at the bottom hour. So we got to jump in here and get a break, and we'll get back to Dr. Ray and his NutriMost studios in a moment. But if you want that appointment, 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466.
KDKA, where the news.
Okay, we broke off from KDKA, and before I get to John, and I'm going to do something here, but let me just see this. One of the things that I want to talk about is I want to bring up our we're going to talk about there's the thyroid, there's the water. When we talk about water, and let's go through this. When we do body composition analysis, okay, so here's you're looking at not just your weight, your fat mass, fat percentage, water percentage, your visceral fat, your metabolic age. Let's explain how that works first. That works with something called bioimpedance, and it's sending multiple electrical currents into the body, and they go through your body at different rates of speed. So it can measure how much is fat, how much is water, how much is visceral fat, and then it puts that all together to come up with things like your metabolic age. Well, here's the thing about this, and let me just make sure that I'm okay. And let me just and so when I talk about this, when you send that electrical current, if you have swelling, that swelling is going to cause a disruption. It actually causes a short circuit of that electrical current. And what happens is it's going to make it look like your fat mass, your fat percentage is going to be less than what it really is. And so what you want to do is, if you're looking at your body composition analysis, you want to take a look at your BMI, which is just height and weight chart, and you look at your fat percentage, and they should be pretty close. What you'll see is someone that has a lot of swelling. You may have someone that's in the obese range, like pretty much into obese, yet their fat percentage shows that they're like just over fat. They're not obese. And that could be two different things. It could either be, number one, like if you're a bodybuilder, you're going to be, just from weight alone, your BMI is going to be in the obese range, even though you're not obese. In fact, you may have a really low fat percentage, and it's going to show that. The other, and the most common cause, though, the most common of all these, is that you're having swelling, and you'll see that the fat percentage will be less. Oh, I better get, here we're coming back. Hold on.
Host Dr. Ray.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
Life will never be the same.
All right, we're going to get back to Dr. Ray in NutriMost Studios with that interview coming up. But I do want you to know, to get that appointment, you can call right now. They're standing by. 855-NutriMost, NutriMost, NutriMost.com to find out more. 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, live from the NutriMost Studios, Dr. Ray Wisniewski. Doc?
Yeah, and Rob, you can also go go online to NutriMost.com and schedule that appointment. We'll go over that with you. But right now, let's go and go to the recording that I did with Dr. Bragg and John here. All righty? Okay, let's go to the phone lines. John and Dr. Bragg, are you on there?
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Great morning. All righty. You know, you guys are doing some wonderful things down there, Dr. Bragg, in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you were kind enough to bring one of your patients on the line today to join us, who did just a great job, and that's John. And John lost 122 pounds. And I will have to say that this was a bit atypical, because he did the program 2 times, and he's done that. That is far beyond what is typical. So I will say that. But you can see those watching live on Facebook Live can actually see John's picture. But good morning, John, and thanks for joining us on the program. Can you just take us through?
Good morning, Dr. Ray. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'll tell you what, it's such a pleasure to have you. And can you take us through what it's been like for you to do the NutriMost program, how you started, like what you were feeling? Just take us through some of that.
Okay, yeah, it kind of started with Dr. Bragg and I being friends for years, and he seen the need for me for help more than I guess I did myself. And I was a little skeptical, but finally gave in and started it. You know, had no problems. I was just amazed at how pretty much easy it worked, and without getting hungry, because I was a big eater, as you could tell. my main goal was medically was I wanted to get off of blood pressure medicine, which I have, and I've continued to be off of it. I've been off of the program for right at a year now, so I'm able to maintain, not really gained any one way or the other, so I'm real happy with that. My blood pressure is good. My doctor's appointments are good, and I have CDL license, so now I just have to get those updated every 2 years now instead of one, and I always hated doing that, but this has helped me in that. Again, my energy level is absolutely through the roof.
I
I just
forget
can't
about
thank you enough for doing it.
Let me ask you. You mentioned something. I forget about that. The CDL. If you're not in certain ranges, is that the way that works? You have to get tested beforehand. Like you have to do it more frequently. And if you're not on medication,
Yes, sir. In my line of work, when you have the CDLs, if you have high blood pressure or any other problem, you have to go every year to renew. Every year, and it's a just a regime that you got to go through to keep those licensed. But since I was able to get off of the blood pressure, that I only have to go now every 2 years, which is not that big of a deal, but it is when you don't want to go to start with. But the doctor there was just absolutely amazed, and I actually went in there. He always made fun of me. He told me I needed to lose weight, which I in return told him he needed to too. And so while I was out, I went back before my physical, and I said, "Now, what are you going to say now?" And he honestly didn't know me. So that made me feel pretty good.
There's probably a lot of people who don't recognize you after losing basically a small person at losing 122 pounds.
Yes, sir. There were several that did not know me, and several that asked people, "Is that John?" And and it's funny to have people say that to you after you've been used to everybody knowing you the way you was.
Absolutely. And let me ask you, Dr. Bragg, what was it like, taking care of John and seeing this transformation? Because it truly is. I mean, you look at these pictures, it doesn't look like the same person there. And, for him to have that energy and that, and by the way, John, I can hear your energy and your happiness coming through the line, so that's just amazing. But Dr. Bragg, can you tell us what it's been like and what your results have been taking care of people down in Tennessee?
Yes, Dr. Ray. Before I do that, I want to, personally thank you for all the hard work and time and effort you put into developing this program. I'm just real pleased that I have the opportunity to present it to good friends like John and my family and neighbors. This has been, almost as rewarding for me. Like I said, I've known John for a long time. We're very good friends, and to see his transformation has been truly awesome. Like he says, the energy level, he works a full-time job. He does yards, and very, very active fella, and it's also just changed his whole personality. So the personal gratification that I get when I see people that you truly care about. I mean, we care about all of our patients, but when you see that in family members and close friends, it's really something special.
Oh, it sure is. And so, have you had any other what we call the non-scale victories, John? Where things that you've noticed changes since going through the program?
Yes, I'm actually. I am the speed limit. I'm 55 years old, and I'm in size pants that I wore when I graduated high school. I went from a 46 to a 34.
Wow.
Yeah, and I said I just can't. Again, I should have thanked you like Dr. Bragg did at the beginning. Through your all's research and development, I'm where I'm at today. I guess I could say you saved my life. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but I know you definitely have prolonged it because of this.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we,
it's just amazing to throw away all the clothes that I used to have. I actually donated everything to the Gatlinburg fire victims we had up here, and I had a boatload of them because I kept getting bigger and bigger, and I didn't throw any away because I was hoping to get small. But when I went small, I went really small, and I had nothing left.
And you had to buy new clothes, huh?
Yes, sir, and it was well worth it.
It sure is. Let me ask you. You know, you had to, and I do realize that you get that there had to be a that skepticism to some point that, you know, here you were gaining weight, and someone tells you that you're going to lose it like that. Did you expect to lose this much at any point, or being at this weight that you are right now?
No, sir. I absolutely had no idea. When I first started, you know, one of the first things I called in to talk to these girls. I thought my scale was wrong. You know, I really thought it was wrong. I get up every morning. I didn't weigh myself for years, but it was a pleasure to get up and weigh myself every morning.
Yeah, it's funny.
I've seen results every day.
Yeah, that's a great thing, that when you see those results, that makes it so worth it. So let me ask you, what is it that you would, you know, tell that person that's out there? They've either heard me, they've heard Dr. Bragg, they've heard other people talk about NutriMost, they've seen results, but they think, well, that's them, it can't happen to me. So what would you, and they don't take that action. And in fact, you didn't take action for quite some time. Like, what would you tell that person?
You know, it's hard to explain that one, because I do have several people that ask me, and I think because of the way that you all have helped me, I think it has helped several people come in and do it, and they have all achieved success. My wife did it with me, which was also, you know, was good. She benefited greatly also. You know, it's just a lifestyle change, you know, I think. And I didn't think I would ever do it, but you just try to convince people that it's, you know, you need to try to prolong your life as long as you can. You're not going to be here that much longer anyways. But it's just, you know, I guess when they see me and see how I look now and what I looked before, that's pretty much testimony in itself. You know,
absolutely.
And I'll just tell them, you know, if I can do it, you can do it. There ain't no reason you can't.
Well, you're a walking, talking billboard, and let me ask you, how easy was it to do?
Oh, I was shocked how easy it was. I didn't expect it to be easy at all. You know, I'll tell you, I started every morning with 2 sausage biscuits and the biggest bucket of sweet tea I could find from Hardee's. And that's what I started every day with, pretty much. All right. And I went from that to, you know, I quit eating that stuff, and I thought I'd miss it. I don't. My taste buds have changed. A lot of things I used to like that was bad for me, I don't like no more. I have no desire to eat them. It seems like it transforms your mind as well as your body.
Yeah, it really does, and that's a great thing. So I'll tell you what, we'll finish up today. I just want to say one thing that I want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Bragg for Roy being on the program. Is there any other thing that either of you would like to say and tell the listeners and the people who are watching this live on Facebook?
Well, Dr. Ray, I would just like to encourage them if they're having any doubts at all. John is a prime example of someone that takes responsibility and decides, okay, it's time to change this path, because he was on that ill-fated path toward, you know, heart problems, diabetes, and I know a lot of your listeners and viewers out there are probably on that same path. So, you know, I challenge them to go ahead and really have some quiet time and make the decision to jump on board, because NutriMost is absolutely a fantastic program.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for coming on, and look forward to your continued success through this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ray.
Bye. All righty. Well, we had to dive out of there from KDKA. I just want to offer everybody, anyone who wants that consultation, you can just call at 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466, or you can schedule online at NutriMost.com. It's going to be for $27. You're going to have a complete body composition analysis. You know, we left talking about that body composition analysis, the importance of that. And so a lot of times when somebody thinks that their water is not going up, And you'll hear that someone says, oh, my problem is that how do I get my water up? I can't get my water up. And it may be there's a couple of things that could be happening. That it may actually be artificial where it is in the first place because you have some extracellular water, and that's giving you a higher measurement than what you expect. And as you're bringing the water in, as you're taking the water out of the surrounding tissue, that edema, so you'll see swelling go down. And a lot of times people don't even realize that they have swelling. I said, take a look at your socks. Do you have the ribbing when you take off your socks? When you push, is there a soft part? Can you push? And when it's really bad, you'll have that pitting edema you can get where you just continue to push, and as you're pushing, that go in, then you release it, and it'll still stay pitted, and that's what's called pitting. It's actually called pitting edema. There's pitting edema and there's non-pitting edema, and it all depends on the way that the water flows, and it's about some of the things that you can do to help water into the cells. You need to improve the electrical potential. So it's really critical that, number one, it's the hydrovitalize. Number two is you want to stay away from any fluoridated water. And it's really amazing because some people think fluoride, it's great for your teeth. First of all, it can cause mottling of teeth. It can cause disruption of your of the bone. It competes. Both fluoride and chloride are both halides, along with bromide, which you'll find bromide is in brominated flour, and they compete with the iodine. So they compete with iodine in which is part of the metabolism, but it's also one of the things is that iodine helps protect the sulfated cholesterol. And your cholesterol in your body, people talk about bad cholesterol. You act like if your cholesterol, you want it as low as possible. The reality of it is the people who have the highest rate of death have the lowest cholesterol. So I want to go through that again. The people with the highest death rates have the lowest cholesterol. And the reason is it's your cholesterol that has to become the it's the cholesterol that has to become the hormones, the neurotransmitters, the vitamin D, D3. Your cholesterol is one of the conductors of the body. So you have to have cholesterol for the electrical conduction. So your body is a semiconductor. That's one of the reasons why you have so much in the brain, for instance. Wherever there's a higher amount of electrical conduction, you'll have more cholesterol. It's really just amazing, but it's when it becomes oxidized that there's a problem. And I'll have to hold on, I'll raise my earphones so I know when to come back with KDKA. But it's, so you want to stay away from even electrical, today with all these non-native EMFs. When we talk about non-native EMFs, that's electromagnetic forces. Your sun is an electromagnetic force. Except today with all the Wi-Fi, the phones, and they just keep raising them more and more. Oh, they're coming back. It's a little faster than normal.
Censored. Part of the KDKA Weekend Magazine with your host, Dr. Ray.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
Life will never be the same. Life is changing.
Hey, your life can change too, like John. You heard him and Dr. Bragg and, of course, Dr. Ray moments ago. Call this number to get your appointment, 855-NutriMost. You can also get an appointment online at NutriMost.com. You can watch them stream live right now on their Facebook page. It is NutriMost.com, 855-688-7466, 855-688-7466. Once again, let's go back live to the NutriMost studios. He's on the air, Dr. Ray Wisniewski. Doc?
Rob, and one of the things I want to talk about is, people like John who, here's a guy who thought he wanted to, he talks about how he was keeping his clothes because he wanted to fit into those clothes again. He says, but at the end, he didn't know that he was going to go from a 46-inch waist down to a 34-inch waist. And, here's a guy, and just imagine this. he goes for a CDL license every year. And by the way, we have a lot of those people. I always forget about that because of between the pilots and the drivers, and they have a higher risk. And in fact, if you're diabetic, for instance, and that's one of the reasons why. If you're diabetic, that means that there is a metabolic dysfunction. It's broken, and you can turn that on. You can change all that. And so here's a guy who had to go more for a CDL license, and now he says he doesn't have to go as frequently, but he goes once a year. And he said he went, and the doctor didn't even recognize him. He said he couldn't wait to tell the guy, "Hey, now what do you have to say about losing you keep telling me I have to lose weight, Now what do you say after I lost 122 pounds?" But the doctor didn't recognize him when he's talking. He said that the guy didn't even know it was him. So it didn't, and so those are the things. And it's so interesting that we'll see our patients that they aren't recognized. In fact, we had a husband and wife through the program. They met their daughter, came home, flew back home from California. When she came and they're waiting for they didn't recognize her. She didn't recognize them. So when you see these things, it truly is amazing. But it's really the things that we're talking about, and we put this all together in our programs, and that's what we want people to realize. What makes it so unique? What makes it so different? Here we're across the nation. We have offices in over 30 states. We started here in Pittsburgh. If you call 855-688-7466, that's 855-NutriMost. So NutriMost. That works anywhere in the country. So wherever you're at, you call that number, and that'll get you to your closest office. Or if there's not an office near you, we'll show you how you can do it remotely. And we have our remote coaches are absolutely incredible. You've heard people on the program that we had the one young lady was basically in tears over her coach, Sam. And we've had people like some of these the sports figures, the people in actors, actresses, things like that. We've had JB from James Brown did the program remotely with his coach Janine, who you can't say enough about. So these are, you can do it remotely, you can do it locally in an office. But what we do is we take a look at the research that's out there. And for instance, this is from this just came out, and this is stuff that comes out of when we talk about this research. This is from McMaster's University, and this just came out on December. I'm trying to look in there, December 7th. You can see it there, 2017. And what they're talking about is there's a bunch of genes that affect your weight, and what they found was out of 37 genes that they know of, there's 9 that actually cause even greater obesity, particularly once you're obese. And here's the thing that they found, though. The important thing about this was that even though they said that these genes can play a 50 to 80% role in what in your BMI, they said the people who are carriers of the genes, if they stay in a balanced state with a balanced BMI, it says through appropriate lifestyle, basically they minimize all the effects of this gene. In other words, the gene has nothing to do with anything. And then this one here, and again, this is from the Diseases of the Colon and Rectum Journal, and this is published in PubMed. They said fatty liver index is a simple and accurate predictor of colorectal adenoma, average risk population. What it's about is that they know that when you're overweight, you're going to have some more issues, and what this is about is that BMI, when you're overweight, it causes this disruption, and that disruption affects insulin resistance. It affects leptin resistance, FGF21 resistance. It actually causes the replacement of normal tissue within the liver to be replaced with fat, and that's what it's called, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But what they also found out is that you also creates a much, much higher incidence of polyps. And so one of the things, and again, why is that? It's because you have an imbalance in your hormones. It's because you have an imbalance in body function. And so that's what NutriMost Intelligence does. What we're doing is we're looking at all these different factors, and we're saying, okay, what are the foods that will help get you metabolically balanced? What are the foods that you should eat? What are the foods you should avoid? What are the nutrients that are going to help support your body? What are the food timing? And we try to get it to, because there's signs and symptoms when the body is resistant, when it's insulin resistant, when it's leptin resistant. When people are balanced, they sleep better. Food tastes better. They don't get tired after they eat. They don't have indigestion. There's things that you can do to make a huge difference. So what they found was that if you had a high serum triglyceride, and you had a higher BMI, and you have particularly if you have a liver blood test that's higher, it goes up between like 30 and 50% higher risk of having a adenoma. The other one, let me just see if we can, we have another study here that talks about, here's this one I talked about earlier, stress responsive FKB51 regulates AKT2 AS160 signaling and metabolic function. Here's the thing about this, and I get a kick out of the more that you know about the body, the more that you realize that you don't know. And what I mean by that is that it really is that you have the way that the body works. And there are so many compounds, there are so many factors, there's so many of these cascading proteins and hormones and neurotransmitters. And so we've done the research, and we take, anytime anything comes out on a research study, we'll take that information, and what this is this particular protein has been shown to cause type 2 diabetes from the muscle because it makes it insulin resistant, and it's an unknown pathway previously. So now they're looking at things. How do you target this with medications? I'm telling you, it's not about medications. It's about balancing the body. So our programs, although they're weight loss, and we have a 20-pound weight loss guarantee. It's absolutely, and most people get way more than that on the program, but we have a 20-pound weight loss guarantee. And you can go on our website, NutriMost.com. You can read that guarantee. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's clear cut, and because it's more than the weight loss. And there's other. You have all these weight loss places out there, and they're focusing on weight loss. What we focus on is balancing the body, and we want that for you, and we want to show you how you balance the body. But it's simple. All you need to do is you need to pick up the phone. You need to give us a call at 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466, 855-NutriMost, or visit us online at NutriMost.com. Go to NutriMostReviews.com, see our NutriMost reviews, see the people who, and every review gets posted. It doesn't matter what it is. If you've done the program, it gets posted. People can put up their before and after pictures. They can rate in the office. They go through, and you'll see.
Right.
It's like almost 98%. You can go right on, and they'll tell you 5-star ratings. I mean, that's what we are. That's what we're about.
All right, listen, Dr. Ray's on a roll. He's got another segment. He wants to come back. He wants to kind of set you in the right frame of mind. The end of year, the right time. Start the new year off on the right foot. Make the call. Get the appointment. See what they can do for you. John is just one of many thousands of people who have achieved weight loss goals, but more importantly, have taken control of their life back. So it's 855-NutriMost, 855. .com. We'll be back.
Pittsburgh.
Okay, I sort of cut out early before he was ready to. Here we go. All righty. Hey, one of the things, and I wanted to bring up that, let me just see if we can, here's some of the research we talked about. I don't know if we even get time to go. You know what? I'm going to wait for this one bit on later on in the show when we come back from KDKA as well, because it's pretty cool. It's about how hormones affect your moods, and how the foods affect your hormones, and it even changes. And by the way, let's take a look at that. I'm going to do a whole show on this, and maybe I'll do it on our science show, because I'm thinking about something. And what that is during the, we talk about the fact that you're best off to eat foods locally. And so in order to eat foods locally, what's going to happen is, in order to eat, for instance, fruits, it's going to be primarily during the summertime. When you eat, they're not as available. And it turns out our bodies handle fruits in vegetables easier in the summertime than it does in the wintertime. In fact, we talk about the fact that, Christmas is coming up. We're right in the season. We're in Hanukkah. And so there's people who are going to eat a lot of different foods and snack and different things. We talk about the fact that we're easier to turn in the winter food into fat. Well, that's true and not true to an extent, because what we found out is, just like animals that hibernate, when they hibernate in the winter, they are fat burners. Okay, their thyroid slows down. They start getting their calories from the fat that they've just been storing. So in hibernation, their metabolism slows. They're in fat burning more than they are sugar burning. Our bodies tend to do that as well to a lesser extent, but they still do it. But here's the thing. If you bring in sugars during that period of time, that'll turn it into fat easier, but your body actually is more into fat. If you go on the program right now, you'll do fantastic. First of all, it's easier to stay away from the bad stuff. It's easier to stay away from the foods you shouldn't be eating. But the other thing that happens is that your body will it's going to naturally go towards more of a fat burning state. So we talk about that AMP, activated protein kinase pathway, that takes us either towards lipid metabolism or takes us towards glucose metabolism. So in other words, fat burning or sugar burning. Your body will naturally go more towards sugar burning a little bit more in the summer than it does in the winter. It's just a natural fact. However, when you disrupt that and you start bringing in the sugars, it will take that and put it into fat. Except naturally, if you eat more of the meats, if you eat foods that are more indigenous in the winter, as far as you will actually do a little bit, your body will tend to go a little bit more shift towards fat burning. So that's something interesting that a lot of people don't realize. So, and like I said, you can give us a call for a consultation. All you have to do is go to 855-NutriMost, 855-688-7466. Visit us online at NutriMost.com. One of the other things that I would like to bring up is one of our products today is, and I'd like to highlight that, and that's our ThyroMost. And I'm gonna highlight that on the website, is on the show coming up on Thursday. And by the way, we're really getting this studio just humming nicely. But this product, which we created for you, it's so unique, so different. We're going back here. Hold on.
Dr. Ray.
The KDKA Weekend Magazine. Local talk from local experts. News Radio 1020 KDKA.
Life will never be the same. Life
855 NutriMost, NutriMost.com. Get that appointment, 855-688-7466. Back to the NutriMost studios. One more segment for the guys from True Value Step Up, Ed Piper, Mike Bradaszewski, and Mr. True Value, Andy Amron, on your Saturday here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ray Wisniewski. Ray?
Good. I tell you what, Rob, I am so excited. I just keep on going. And the reality of it is that, when we take a look, and I just like to, I bring on some of the research because of the fact that it does have such profound effects. And some of the things we see that there's a association between just adhering to a healthy diet and just being happy. But there's another, there was an assessment of dietary factors and dietary practices and exercise on mental distress. And they were showing young adults versus older adults. And this is what I'm talking about, Rob. It's how your diet affects things. And what they found out was that it affects your health differently when you're younger, when you're older. But they even showed that, for instance, it's all about your brain chemicals. It's about your serotonin. It's about dopamine. So when you're younger, when you consume meats more, it's going to help build up those different chemicals. And when you get old, and that's going to cause less distress. It's going to cause a better, happier mood. But as we get older, as we start to age, we have an increase in free radicals. And that's one of the reasons why we created our hydromolecular, because it's the ultimate ultimate free radical buster, particularly the hydroxyl radical. But what it is it not only does that have the ability to help us decrease our stress, but when we eat foods that have more free radicals, we do better as we get older. But it's the reverse effect as foods that activate stress response, such as coffee, such as too much refined carbohydrates. These are types of foods. When you start eating these refined carbohydrates, it really causes some disruption. But once you cause the disruption, you can make it permanent so that from there on, it doesn't function right. You basically break the mechanism. So what NutriMost is all about, it's about healing. It's about healing from that molecular perspective, from that cellular perspective, from that perspective of a metabolic perspective where we're healing hormones, healing neurotransmitters. And so you have to understand that there are certain foods that are going to help that. And particularly during this time of the year, you really want to stay away from these refined foods during parties. During the break, I was just talking on Facebook, I was describing that we tend to think that we burn fat less in wintertime. But the reality of it is, as far as the AMP activated protein kinase pathway goes, which determines whether it's more of a, if it's going to be lipid metabolism or glucose metabolism, fat burning or sugar burning, in the wintertime, you tend to go, it just tends to be a little bit of a shift towards lipid metabolism, more towards fat burning. Same as when animals hibernate. When animals hibernate, they tend to go more to, during hibernation, they are burning fat. However, as soon as you bring these refined sugars into the body, you shift that. That shift is going to cause it to go into a fat storage, and it's going to disrupt that metabolic process. And so what NutriMost is about is saying, how do we optimize the organ? How do we optimize the cell? And including to the point that, we talk about the fact that what are the nutrients that we use. And I just was showing one of ours for just the thyroid. It's all our products. For instance, it has the synergists, the cofactors, the active transporters, but you don't see things like just iodine. What you see is vegetables, like bladderwrack, Irish moss, motherwort, bear garlic, kelp, broken cell wall chlorella, parsley, fennel seed, Saigon cinnamon bark, black walnut, Syrian oregano leaf, celery leaf. These are active transporters. They're designed for total comprehensive nourishment and detox of the thyroid. They're designed to support healthy thyroid tissue, to support energy, to support your metabolism. They're designed basically to give your body the optimal response so that your body can heal. So that's just one of our products. And I'd like to highlight a product each time, but that product is designed to help support your thyroid, to help support your metabolism, to help support, but it's not to activate and stimulate. You don't stimulate to compensate. In other words, if you don't sleep enough, you don't start drinking more coffee. You don't do that. That's how you disrupt the body. And that's how even nutritionalists, what they'll do is they'll try to stimulate to compensate. We're about balance. And we use NutriMost Intelligence to go through that balance, to look at the different hormones and neurotransmitters, to look at the amino acids, the essential fatty acids, to take into account where your body's weaknesses are, where your body's strengths are, and utilize that to maximize your potential. And it's all about optimizing you, your health, your body. It's about getting into that way. And that's one of the reasons why you'll see people like, I'm looking at Bethany, lost 26.4 pounds so far on the program. She's lost 25 years off of her metabolic age, which is just fantastic. Mike done 34.8 pounds, and listen to this. I've got 33 pounds of fat, and you'll see that a lot with guys that have a big engine. In other words, they have muscle under there. Just like when we talked John, he lost 122 pounds. And the thing was, he lost so much, but he was a truck driver. He had muscle underneath that. And my gosh, he looked like a bodybuilder afterwards. So give us a call, 855-688-7466, 855-NutriMost, or visit us online at NutriMost.com.
Hey, Doc, always a pleasure. You're full of energy because I know the passion that you have for what you do, and you're helping people, and that's an incredible story with John today. As always, a pleasure. Have a great rest of your weekend, okay?
Thank you. Okay, we just cut out from KDKA, and our number here is 855-688-7466. Hey, by the way, if you're listening to us online, if you're on Facebook, we would love to have you hear your story. Let us know. You can call our office, or you can send an email to us. We should have set up an email address just for that. But if you go on Facebook on the NutriMost support page, you can message Amy, who works with us. She's one of our remote coaches and does a great job for us. Amy started as a patient and was referred so many people and was so active on Facebook and just helped us out so much. And we couldn't. It would be foolish not to offer Amy a job, we thought. And it's funny how so many of the people who work for us actually were clients first. They were patients first. And we transformed their life, and they just wanted to transform other people's life. Like, you take a look at, John, who was on, and you see that John, that his life was transformed, and he wanted to be on. Dr. Bragg wanted to be on and talk about our doctors. We had Sharon on. We had Wendy on that lost over like 120 pounds. I think Sharon lost like 66 pounds. And some people that lost didn't need to lose as much, but some people, they just had, it was a transformation in their entire being. Some people who have had their A1Cs drop down tremendously. This is my plea to you. You never know how far-reaching something that you say, something that you do, the way that you look, the post that you post, how it'll affect someone else's life. Now, I will tell you this, and you can see when we put up our, hold on one second, when we put up our disclaimers, and we say weight loss among participants on NutriMost program varies. Federal agencies suggest most people who participate in any weight loss program will lose an average of 1 to 2 pounds per week. But here it is. Testimonials are from actual clients who have completed the program and did not receive any compensation for their endorsement. So we do not compensate for any of that, and the reason is because we put that on every single anything that we do with our testimonials. There is no guarantee of specific results. Results may vary depending on the program. And, we have our weight loss guarantee. The guaranteed 20 pounds of weight loss by the end of 70 days. For those participating on the programs, most people, as you know, do more than that, do it before that. But here's the thing. I would love if you're you have the potential to change somebody's life. You really do. You have the potential to absolutely transform their life, because I'm on here all the time. People expect me to say that this program's the greatest program that there is. But it's when you come on, it's when people see your pictures, when they see your images, when they see it's real people. It's funny because even our advertisements, my staff will bring me ads, and they'll use like clip art. They use these models and stuff like that. I said, I don't like that. I like our real clients. Our clients look great. Our clients' lives have been transformed. We don't need to take some picture of it and have it like make it look like that they lost weight on program. When everybody knows that they looked at, they said, that's a 25-year-old model that she's never had a weight problem in her life. You can sort of see, and they take pictures, and they have that. And they're the ones that you see them on every single weight loss commercial. They use the same pictures and images. And I'm like, I like using real people. So I thank you for coming on to the NutriMost support page. Hey, I just want to go into some of these other things. I want to complete the thought on, when you're looking at weight, when you're looking at water, your office and your coaches understand this. Like, some people think, well, it's really difficult to get my water on track. Well, you got to it's about getting everything balanced. It's not just like you're going to drink more water and that's going to be it. It's not. It's about using the Hydrovitalize. It's about balancing. It's about getting the hormone aldosterone under control. Aldosterone is a hormone that's produced by the adrenals. It's about hormones like antidiuretic hormone from the effects of the kidneys. It's about your electrical potential within the cell. People don't realize how important grounding is, for instance. They don't realize how important just that by balancing your body, including the adrenals, including the kidneys, whatever support that needs. And by the way, when you do that, your skin looks better. You feel healthier. You have more energy. And when you're 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 years old, that's when it really comes out. That's when it really matters. You'll see so many times people, they just look older than they should. I've been in practice for over 35 years. I say over 35. I think it's 35 will be January 22nd. I started practice, and some of you guys know my story. I tell it a lot. I met my wife, and I started and opened my office the exact same day. It was the greatest day of my life, January 22nd. It's the day that I celebrate. My wife and I celebrate that a lot because, in fact, we take a look at, hey, if we didn't meet, then nothing else happens. The engagement doesn't happen, the wedding doesn't happen, nothing else happens. So I met my wife the day that I opened my office, and actually it was in a celebration for opening my office. After that night, after opening the office, so I will tell, one of the times we'll do the Dr. Ray, the good, the bad, and the funny. My staff tells me that I should write a book, that I have so many stories. My patients used to come in. We had one of the largest practices in the country, and we had a lot of characters, and we have a lot of stories. There's so many things, and I forget them. Sometimes someone will say something that will remind me. I'll say, oh, that's like this, and I'll tell these stories, and they are. We'll have to do that sometime. But I would appreciate if you want to tell your story, if you want to change somebody's life, let us know. Help us change somebody's life. And it really can. John said, I don't know if you saved my life, but boy, I think you extended it. I think you made it a lot easier. And that's the thing. It makes it a lot easier. It's about quality of life. It's about doing the things that you want to do. It's about having the energy. It's about being able to get to sleep. It's about healing better. When your body's metabolically, when you're functioning well, you have a higher resistance. And it all starts on the molecular level, how the cells work, in that cellular level, and it's like this entire world in the cell, and then it's just the accumulation of all these cells. That's what makes who we are, and that's what we're able to do. That's what we're able to see. And so we're here for you. If you have suggestions that you want me to talk about on the radio show, hey, I welcome those as well. You can go on. You can let us know on Facebook. You can send us a message. Let us know if you would like to be on the program. Let us know what you would like me to talk about. I love to talk about. In fact, sometimes one of the things that I believe that we do really well. Sometimes I think I do it better than some other people would, but I say that I read a lot of different research. I go through all this, and we put all the research together. And the one thing that I've been trying to do is I can take something that's very complex and really simplify it. But sometimes we'll simplify it, then we'll bring it back to being somewhat complex, or I'll tell it to complex, and then we'll try to explain that. And some people say, hey, when you get too complex, then it loses me. And I don't want that to happen. But I've been trying not to do that as much. But it's really just phenomenal. And by the way, we'll give you some updates on things that we are doing as a company. And we're just very excited about everything that's going on. Thank you for joining us. Please look for us next week on Thursday at 12 noon. I may change that time. Thursday is noon is a tough time for me. We may actually make it Friday at noon. It works out a little bit better for me. I'm going to decide on that. But we have the upgrade on our studio next week. You'll see some slight changes. It'll look pretty much the same to you, but fortunately Ken had a great workaround today. And thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to seeing you next week.